My name is Mark Ferguson. I'm a junior, majoring in product design at Stanford University. For my 2018 Maker Grant Award, I'm marbling silks and making them into a robe that I can wear. Right, so the process. Marbling is this process where you float paint on top of a liquid medium, and then because it's a liquid, you can move it around with combs or sticks, and you get these really cool, flowy, fluid patterns. So, like, the nature of marbling is that you need a tank that's like the same size in surface area as the piece that you want to dye. So, I had to make a tank that was like 60 inches on every side to hold the piece. And that also becomes like a really large volume of medium because you can't just use water because the paint has to float on top. So I had to mix like 40 gallons of like a gelatin mixture. So we had to be really quick with the paint, like throwing it into the tank and then also swirling it around because it's just really heavy, and after a while it will start to sink. And especially the paint that I had has this metallic component that like is part of why it has a really beautiful color, but also makes it heavier than a lot of other paints. So. Marbling has just been something I've been thinking about for a while. I think it's really interesting on fabrics. Like I've mostly only come across marbling in paper, on like book binding. Paper marbling is a very common process. But I think it integrates with like bodies very well through clothing. I think it's just a really beautiful process, and I wanted to try it out and like do something larger. I'd seen a couple projects done with marbled silks, but they're usually like very small pieces. And yeah, the robe just kind of seemed like a really natural like expression of the flowing like nature and like the fluidity of marbling. That's how the project came to be. And then we lay the silk down on top of it, trying to keep it as even as possible, and it soaks up all the paint. Yeah, what did I learn from this process? I learned a lot about just like the marbling process. I think there are a lot of difficulties I encountered that were totally unnecessary just because I'd never done it before. So I learned a lot about just how to marble things. I'm continuing to learn a lot about like clothes making and just assembling things with a sewing machine. It's new for me, but I'm also just learning a lot about, I don't know, how like open that space is. Like you can just like make fabric and like color it however you want and then make it into a piece that looks exactly the way you want, which is really exciting.